Hi, I'm Dr. McFerrin from DM Explains. In this video, I'm going to give you the briefest ever introduction to project management, specifically talking about teamwork and scheduling. So the first thing to talk about is team behavior. When you work with a team, the first thing that you should establish is ground rules. Each team needs a consensus about acceptable and unacceptable individual behavior or team behavior as a whole. So showing up on time, being non-distracted during meetings, not watching YouTube videos or TikTok or whatever while you're in a meeting. These are some ground rules you can set for team behavior. Next is decision making. Should your team's decision making be done through consensus, a majority vote, or so on? This is something that you're going to need to unpack with your team. You need to talk about how you're going to communicate. It is really important that in a team, every group member is able to participate, listen, have their voice be heard, but also listen to the ideas and contributions of others. In a team, usually we establish roles. These roles may include things like the meeting organizer, the recorder, or a timekeeper. A timekeeper is a person who essentially keeps the time in the meeting and says, hey, we've been wasting our time on this for too long. Someone who encourages or facilitates and makes sure that everyone is being heard and listening appropriately. These are some typical roles. In an engineering team, you may find that there are roles split by the type of expertise, but it is important to have both types of roles involved in your team. You also might want to establish how you feel about participation. How is the team work going to be distributed? How should you handle it if somebody isn't there for whatever reason? You also need to agree what outcomes you have for the team and how you're going to measure if the team has successfully reached its final goal. Now let's talk about timeline. In more advanced versions of Introduction to Engineering Design, you might talk about project timelines and how you deal with them in more detail. You might talk about things like Gantt charts and milestones, but I'm going to take it from a very simple approach. So we want to create a project timeline. The best way to do this, and this applies not just to engineering and teamwork, but to a lot of things in your life. But you break the project into the individual tasks and subtasks. This is good advice for productivity in general. Figure out when decisions need to be made and when you need certain supplies or equipment to move forward. That way you have firm deadlines set up so you can achieve an end deadline. Once you have this full list of tasks, you might then want to talk about the order that the tasks need to be completed in. Are some required to happen before others? Are they prerequisite or post-requisite to other tasks? Do they link together in some way? If you work back from the project due date, then you can schedule each task, decision, and purchase, and you can identify any major milestones and checkpoints. You can then establish a standing meeting time to work on your project. Once you've done that, you can create what's called a responsibility matrix. In this, what I do is I break down each discrete task and I say, all right, task 1 is going to be completed by a certain person by a certain date. And then have another third party look and make sure that that actually happens. So then it becomes the responsibility of not just one person or sometimes two people or one group of people. It becomes a bigger group responsibility. As you do this, consider your team dynamics. How well do you get along with each other? Is there conflict in your group? Does it need to be resolved? How may that affect the schedule? You should also expect that there will be delays and you require some contingency time. And so it's really a good idea to program in some extra contingency time into your projects. Once you've done this, you can use that information to establish a good timeline for your project and then get to work. That's all in my very briefest ever introduction to project management. Until next time, thanks for watching.